My man, how are you?
I'm doing well. How's everything?
Just kind of talking to myself while I wait for you. Happy Friday, my friend. Let's get started.
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm going to share this screen here, Chris, and I'm going to let you take it away because I know you're short on time. So first games are Raiders, Bengals in Cincinnati, and that's tomorrow at 3:30, and then Patriots, Bills tomorrow at 7:15 p.m. immediately following that game. So talk to me about those two.
Yeah, I mean, the Raiders Bengals one, it's interesting, right? Because those two teams faced earlier this season, and I know the Raiders are coming off that big win, but I get nervous about teams coming off really emotional wins and what's kind of the rebound rate. When you have a game 6 days later, and I'm always worried about that. On the flip side, you got a Cincinnati team that got to rest their quarterback, rest their running back, got to kind of recharge their batteries, I would say. And I think the thing about this is if the Bengals are versing a team that has a lot of playoff experience, if they were to draw the Patriots in the first round, I think that would be a matchup that scares me. But you look at the Raiders and the Bengals are kind of in the same boat, right? Don't have much playoff experience over the last couple of years, but we all know very well what Joe Burrow can do in big games. And I think this is a great opportunity for him to show that he isn't just, one of these up and coming quarterbacks. He's a guy who right now can win big games. So I really like the Bengals in this spot. I think if they can just keep the Raiders pass rush at bay, they should win this game. Now, I am a little worried. Unique Ngakoue and Max Crosby are two guys that can really wreck a game plan, but I like what the Bengals got going on. They have great weapons on the outside. They got a great running back, and they got a quarterback who plays with a chip on his shoulder.
I love that. Yeah, and just a quick story on that, or just a fun fact about the LSU connection, obviously, that the Bengals and the Raiders share. I shared this on Instagram. It's on Culotta's Instagram page and Boo Crew Media's. But there's a picture of Foster Moreau and Joe Burrow together at LSU, and I said these two are facing each other in round one of the 2022 NFLSU playoffs. And a friendly reminder that Foster Moreau was part of the group that traveled to Ohio State to convince Burrow to come to LSU. Now he's traveling back to Ohio to play him and Jamar Chase in the playoffs. And somebody asked me, they were like, what are your sources? A crew went to Ohio State. It's like, Chris, can you just explain, like, especially the world we live in? So I was actually lucky enough to be pretty intoxicated at Red Eye Grill after the national championship. And Joe and I guess all his boys, after they won, like snuck out of the hotel. I don't know if they snuck out or if they were just allowed to go, but they all went into Red Eye. Joe got behind the bar. It was really cool. And I actually ended up, because I know Foster from Jesuit, walking back to the hotel with them. I mean, like, I shit you not, it was Joe Burrow and Foster Moreau, like right after winning the national championship. I was like starstruck. I didn't even say a word. I just listened to their conversation. And then I ended up getting an Uber, back home with Foster, I think, who lives in Lakeview. And so that was just like, the whole time I was just like, is this really happening, kind of thing, not so much at Foster, just because I knew him pretty well, but the fact that I was just walking with Joe Burrow, who was talking about like everything that he experienced in college, was just like, that'll never happen again, But yeah, I mean, I just think it's cool that, or can you explain to people, like, when somebody's in the transfer portal, like, they can talk to anybody, like guys can go up to Ohio State to visit them. And like, I heard that story firsthand, that Foster helped convince Joe and that he hosted Joe in the spring, in his spring visit. But yeah, like that happens, right?
Yeah, no, like the transfer portal is the closest thing to like free agency for college football that you're going to get. And I think actually now more than ever, it's probably a little bit more complicated now with the NIL deals. And I'm sure that factors into whether or not people are going to certain schools. But yeah, to your point, if you enter the transfer portal, it's fair game. I mean, whoever you're talking to, and I'm sure a lot of players that do that, they probably kind of go around. Like, think about all these quarterbacks that go in. You don't think that a guy like Caleb Williams, when he goes into the transfer portal, doesn't have about 1,000 messages hit his phone at once? Like,
right.
It is what it is. And I respect it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I agree with you there. I'm going Bengals, but I do just want to give credit where credit's due. That Foster Moreau stepped in at tight end when Darren Waller was out. And
Yep.
I mean, he almost scored a touchdown. He's been a big factor to Derek Carr's passing game, in Las Vegas. And, props to the Raiders for making the playoffs, but I do think their journey is going to end tomorrow. So next game, Patriots Bills.
Yeah, this one I don't feel confident about at all. And I think whoever I would pick for this game, I wouldn't feel confident at all. But I'm going to go with the Bills for one reason and one reason alone. I think if the Bills were to get knocked out of the wild card round, I think they would go down as the most disappointing team this year. And I know a lot of people might say the Browns. And you know what? Maybe like the Browns not making the playoffs was really disappointing, but I wasn't one of those people who loved the Browns. I was one of those people who loved the Bills. And I thought that they took that next step last year, making the AFC Championship game. And I thought, you know what? They're going to be a hungry team. And you know what? They are playing well going into the playoffs, so that makes me feel a little bit more confident about them. But if they get knocked out by a New England team that I would imagine isn't going to throw the ball very much tomorrow, it's going to be freezing. I mean, they said the high is 0 degrees tomorrow. Like, that's just disgusting to think about. So,
Right.
It's going to be freezing. They're going to run the football. New England beat them earlier this season, just throwing the ball 3 times. They got to win this game. There's moments where you got to take that next step and you got to show that you are here. You are right now. And I know they don't have Tre'Davious White, and that hurts. Like, him getting that torn ACL midseason really was a bummer. But Josh Allen's healthy. The receiving core is healthy. Singletary's giving them a ground game that they haven't had this whole year. He's starting to emerge. So if they go and they lose to a New England team, which is talented and well coached, but is relying on a rookie quarterback, I think it'd be a disappointing ending for this team.
No question. All right, next game, Sunday, January 16th, 2 days from now, 12 p.m., Eagles, Bucks. I think that's an easy pick, huh? Might be the easiest pick of all the playoff games.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I think if the Eagles had a little bit of an experience, they would make it a fun game where I could say, okay, an upset, but it's like Jalen Hurts' first playoff game or Tom Brady's 1,000th. I'll take Brady in the Bucks.
Yeah. Okay, 49ers, Cowboys. I said before you hopped on, Chris, that I think this is going to be the closest game of all the playoff games. And obviously that's a bold statement because, the Super Bowl could go down to a field goal, right? But I just think with the 49ers, peaking at the right time, getting that big win against LA, unfortunately to knock the Saints out of the playoffs. I don't know. I think they could give the Cowboys a run for their money. And I love Dak, but I also love Deebo Samuel. So your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. I actually think just from a wild card perspective, this is the best matchup on the schedule because this is a 49ers team that when they're at their best, they're way better than a 6 seed, and a Cowboys team that when they're at their best, they're a damn good team. I know they've kind of flip-flopped around in terms of being hot, and you can make an argument they're really only hot when they play their division opponents, and it's a fair argument. But these are two teams that are well-balanced. I'm a little nervous that everyone's on the 49ers side. It kind of makes me worried about picking them because I really do like them for this game. Like, I love that they can run the football well. That's where Dallas's defense is weak. Dallas has great pass rushers with Parsons, Lawrence, and Gregory, but they can get beat in the run defense. I think they're around 19th in the league, and we know the 49ers like to run the ball. Trent Williams is coming back. That would be a huge boost for their ground attack with him blocking. I think it's going to come down to which defense can force a turnover or two, because with Garoppolo, when he's on and he's on rhythm, he's a pretty solid quarterback. When he's not, obviously that's where you get into trouble. And for Dak, I talk about the Bills having a lot of pressure. Dak Prescott's got a lot of pressure to put the Cowboys on his back and win this game. They paid him a lot of money. I'm a huge fan of Dak, but this is a game they kind of have to win. But that being said,
I need your pick. I need your pick.
49ers team, man. I'm going to go with the 49ers. I just think the weapons, Debo, Ayuk, George Kittle, even Elijah Mitchell as a rookie running back, I think they can just really just wear you down. And I think the Niners are going to win this one like 24-23. Like, I really think it's going to be close.
Yeah. I like that a lot. I had to say I need your pick because I didn't want you to convince yourself out of taking the upset. And I know we're short on time. So we're going to talk a little bit about the first round, and then we're just going to quickly make like off the cuff predictions for the rest of it. Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Sunday night, Steelers, Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm going to go Chiefs. Juju Smith-Schuster coming back, or at least that's what Rappaport said. I think that's pretty freaking cool. because
Yeah.
people thought he was going to be out for the season, and for him to come back, I think that'd be awesome. I just don't know. Like, how did the Steelers pull off an upset here? Like, I'm trying to find the formula. Like, does TJ Watt need a couple, like a strip sack? Got to force Mahomes into a couple picks. Roethlisberger has to play out of his mind. Like, there's so many factors there. So I'm going to go Chiefs.
Cardinals, Rams, Monday night.
I hate that I'm picking them, but I think the Rams are going to win this. I think the Rams have taken so much criticism this week, and all of it is warranted. But I think when that happens, and the whole week you hear you're soft, Matthew Stafford's a choke artist, you couldn't beat the 49ers. I think that helps. And I go back to the last meeting between the Rams and the Cardinals. Man, the Cardinals couldn't stop Aaron Donald. I know no one could stop, Aaron Donald, but them specifically, they struggled. And I think with no DeAndre Hopkins, I know JJ Watt's going to give them a little bit of a boost on defense for the Cardinals, which is nice, but I think the Rams are going to win this game. And I think the Rams are going to win this game in a way that people don't expect, like Sony Michel and Cam Akers kind of leading their attack and letting Matt Stafford kind of play second fiddle, because it's been pretty bad lately with the interceptions, but I expect the Rams to win this.
All right. I'm going to agree with you there. And then we're going to, let's see here. Share the screen here. Okay, so we're going. Can you see that?
Yep.
All right. Tampa. We're both going 49ers. We're both going Rams. We're both going Chiefs. We're both going Bills, and we're both going Bengals. I actually legitimately, these were my picks, so I'm impressed that we have the same picks. Now, I think we're going to have some different situations here. So that leaves Green Bay versus the 49ers. Who you got?
Oh, man.
While I was listening, by the way, I just want you to know.
This would be a tough one, because the 49ers play the Packers really, really well. Like, every single time they play them, they play them really well. I know the Packers won earlier this year, but I think the 49ers are better now than they were then. I still think I would take the Packers. The only reason being is they can't afford it. Like, when we talk about you can't afford to lose this game and it hurts your legacy and whatnot, and us Saints fans have heard so much crap about Drew Brees not winning a second Super Bowl. Like, when do we start putting the pressure on Rodgers, right? Like,
Right.
It's now or never for him. They are going to get Jair Alexander back. They should get Zadarius Smith back. I think I would go Packers, but I'm telling you, if the 49ers beat the Cowboys and then stun the Packers, it wouldn't really shock me that much.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Packers. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think, for them to lose 38-3 to the Saints and then just absolutely run through the NFL and dominate really the NFC and the whole league, and Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams just clicking on all cylinders. Aaron Jones is still healthy, I think, and they have A.J. Dillon, that power back that has, brought them a new element. I just think if their defense can play well, they might win the Super Bowl. So definitely I'm going to give them the win over the 49ers. Okay, Buccaneers versus the Rams. Tom Brady versus Matt Stafford.
Oh, I think – honestly, I think I would go Rams. I know that sounds terrible, but this would be a nightmare scenario for us Saints fans. If they could both lose, that'd be great. I think I would go Rams. I think that at some point the Bucs not having weapons is going to cost them. No AB and no Godwin. I think at some point it has to get them. Maybe it's here, but maybe I'd go Rams. That's a tough one there.
You know what? I'm taking the Rams too. Literally so far we've agreed on every pick. I might change my picks as early as tomorrow, but I've been saying that it was going to be the Packers, the Rams, or the Bucs in the NFC Championship, and obviously that's an easy bet. I don't even think I'd get favorable odds on that bet, especially even if I made it in week 15 or 16. People are like, well, yeah, that's not really a smart thing to say, Jack. Like, those are the three most dominant teams, so it's very likely that two of those three teams are going to be in the NFC Championship. But yeah, I just think it would be a really cool story, because I do love Matt Stafford's story. I love his NFL films rookie year story from when he got hurt and popped out of a concussion haze and then, won the game for him. So I think it would be cool if Matt Stafford could upset Tom Brady. So yeah, as much as it hurts as a Saints fan, I'm gonna I'm going to take the Rams. So we got Packers and Rams in the NFC Championship. Going over to the AFC, we have the Chiefs hosting the Bills.
Yeah, I would go Chiefs there. I know they met earlier this year. Bills won. And again, I would just talk about the Bills before. They're a team that I'd be rooting for. Like, I really.
I'm sorry. Wait. Yeah, no, that's right. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd still go Chiefs. I think for Kansas City, it's such a weird year. Like, they haven't had that many dominant performances, but I feel like they're going to get it right. I would expect them to win that game.
Okay, I'm going to agree. Oh, that's Tennessee, Cincinnati. Okay, so Kansas City. And that leaves Titans versus Bengals. Hey, we've been on the same page the whole time, Chris, but I think this is where we're going to differ.
I don't know, because this might be weird. Like, it's kind of like dumb for me to go into my picks with like a mentality here, but I'm going to do it anyway. There's got to be one team, I feel like, every year that gets like to the divisional round or the championship game that you don't expect. And it's like, oh, well, I didn't think they would make that run, and they did it anyway. And I think Cincy can do it. Like, I honestly think the Bengals can win this game. I think it comes down to this, right? Like, first off, how does Derrick Henry look in his first game back? I have no idea. Like, if Derrick Henry looks like all-pro Derrick Henry, okay, maybe the Titans win and probably win, but that's a lot to bank on. And here's the thing. If you make it a shootout between Tannehill and Joe Burrow, I'm going to take Joe Burrow. And I'll probably regret it. I think I'll take Cincy here.
Dude, I'm taking Cincy too. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, I really hope we don't have all of the same picks, because that would just be boring. But hopping back over to NFC, Packers versus Rams.
Yeah, I got to go Packers here. It goes back to the same thing that I've been saying. It's like they need to get there this year. There's no more excuses. They've won 13 games in each of the last 3 seasons, and this is the year where I don't feel like they have a really great opponent that matches up with them. Like last year, the Bucs could. You can make an argument the 49ers and the Saints in 2019 definitely could have. Even last year, I think the Saints, had they not blown it against the Bucs, could have beaten the Packers. This year, I think the Packers are the top dog in the NFC.
I'm going to agree with you. People are going to be like, you're just listening to Chris because he's a Saints expert and he has 17,000 followers on Instagram. Bengals, Chiefs.
This one, I got to go Chiefs. I've told myself, when no one knocked off the Chiefs, like when they were 3-4, I think.
Wait, I'm sorry. What'd you say?
This one, I'm going Chiefs.
We finally disagree, baby. I'm taking the Bengals. Let's go.
I love the confidence for the Bengals. I'll say this for the Chiefs. When they were 3-4, I thought that the rest of the NFL really messed up. Like, they could have buried them and put them away where they'd have to play every playoff game on the road, or maybe even miss the playoffs, and they just didn't do it. They just let them sneak back in, and I feel like they're gaining confidence. I would be surprised if Kansas City lost to the Bengals twice in one season, but if Cincinnati wins, if Cincinnati were to make a Super Bowl run in their second year with Joe Burrow, that'd be pretty damn great for them. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, so Chris is taking Kansas City. I am taking Cincinnati. In your situation, you have the Packers versus the Chiefs, the discount double check State Farm Super Bowl that everybody thought was going to happen. What was that, last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you got it. You got A-Rod versus Patty Mahomes. And who are you taking as your Super Bowl champion?
I would take the Chiefs in this scenario. I really would. I like that they're playing actual good defense, and Mahomes is going to explode at some point in a good way. I don't mean like physically, but he's going to have a game where he just goes off and people are like, all right, that's what we're used to. And even this year, like, no one talks about the season he had because he struggled early in the year, but his bad year is better than probably 90% of quarterbacks' like best years. And I think they're going to get it right, and I think they're going to end up winning the Super Bowl this year. Now watch them lose to Pittsburgh on Sunday and shock everyone, and I'm going to be like, oh, well, I'm a dumbass. But no, I really
Ben Roethlisberger and Mike Tomlin make the Super Bowl? Oh, boy, would that be interesting. That would be a story for the ages. I think every sports reporter in America would have like a field day with that one. Okay, I'm taking the Bengals to win the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like it. I really like it.
I don't think their defense is good enough. But I think that, I just think, I think their offense is so good that if their defense, if the offense can maintain time of possession and win time of possession battle, and their defense can just make a couple plays and hold a couple teams to field goals instead of touchdowns. I really think they could do it, man. I genuinely think they could do it. Obviously, there's bias there because I'm such a big Joe Burrow LSU fan, Jamar Chase fan, but yeah, I mean, what would your argument be if you had to take the Bengals?
I think it would be the offense. I think it'd be the firepower and just having the ability, if they are down 7 with 2 minutes left, they got the weapons to get down the field and tie it up. And if it goes into overtime and you're playing for a coin flip, they win that coin flip. That's an offense that I would trust to get down the field against a tired defense. Like I just think for the Bengals, you look at a lot of their games, the win against the Chiefs was impressive. And even the losses, like they lose to the 49ers, but they lose to the 49ers in overtime after they came back. They lose to the Chargers. They were down 24-0, I think it was. Then they come back and tie it. They do end up losing, but it's even then like their offense, they can't, you can't put them away. They have that quality that I do like a lot. My only worry is I wonder if they're similar to the 2017 Saints in the sense that they have a really good offense.
Yeah.
I don't know if the defense is ready yet because I never felt like the 2017 Saints defense was ready to win a title yet. And then they kept taking those steps the next year. And I really like Trey Hendrickson. And what scares me is that secondary, though. I could see that secondary for the Bengals getting beat up. But I think the offense is there. There's not a single part of their offense that I do not like. And I think for that reason alone, if this playoff becomes one where it's a shootout and every game feels like it's 30-27, that's their style. And I think that's where they can thrive.
Buccaneers Media posted a picture of which was the better offense, the 2011 Saints offense or the 2018 Saints offense. Who would be your pick?
Oh, that 2011. I actually love the star power of 2018. Like Kamara and Michael Thomas. I think if we were to rank the players like individually, probably the best weapons out of the group. But the problem with 2011 is they kill you with the depth, right? Like, all right, let's say you figure out Jimmy Graham and you figure out Colston, right? Okay, well, you still have to figure out Sproles. You still have to figure out Pierre Thomas. You still got to figure out Devery Henderson. You still got to figure out Lance Moore. And you still got to figure out Robert Beacham. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
As a defensive coordinator, and I think that's why in 2011
you had a Drew Brees who was 7 years younger.
Absolutely, which is also insane that 2018 Drew Brees, prior to banging up his shoulder on Thanksgiving, was still that damn good that there's an argument to be had. But 2011 Drew Brees, I thought, got robbed of MVP. So for that alone, I would say that unit is just, I don't know how you couldn't stop them. Even in the 49ers loss, which was painful, they still put 30 points easily against the best defense in the league. So that unit's incredible.
Chris Rosvaglu of the Rosvaglu Report. Thanks so much for joining us. He's got the Chiefs versus the Packers in the Super Bowl off the cuff predictions here, but he's taking the Chiefs to beat the Packers. I'm putting the Packers versus the Bengals in the Super Bowl, and I'm taking the Bengals. So both of us taking AFC champions as Super Bowl champions. Chris, thanks again for joining us. We'll talk to you again soon, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Later, bro. All right, folks, this is Talk Culotta, where we talk a lot of sports. I'm Jack, and I am signing out.